Good morning. I was thinking about the topic of the mirroring when narcissists or similar personalities mirror other people when they mimic them, when people perceive something like an identity switch or destiny swap. All these terms that I'm saying now basically come from other YouTube creators or people reporting. Um, and there is, of course, a psychological background to this. There is even in the animal kingdom this behavioral pattern, there is a predatory mimicry, but there's also other forms of mimicry, which means pretending to be another animal, or pretending. There's also mimicry as camouflage, um, and human beings. The behavior of human beings can always be found in the animal kingdom. Okay, it's our DNA basis. Our DNA has information from any animal that comes before us. Okay, um, and we also looking back at animals all the time. That's what human beings always did, to be inspired, in our past. Okay, so this topic that is, in my opinion, rooted in mirroring and is not necessarily pathologic or um, coming with any, we can't judge it as good or bad. It just depends on the way it is perceived. So there is something very threatening to it um, in this experience for some people, but it always depends on the um, circumstances of how this happened. And I find it just really fascinating that this rabbit hole that it is, because if it would not have happened to you, you will not believe it. So there will be people out there who will say, that's not true, I don't believe it. I've never experienced something like that. That these people might be paranoid or whatever, okay? And then there will be um, scientists, like, or pseudoscientists, however you want to see it, psychologists, um, that are professionally working in, researching pathologies, and they will know the phenomenon too. They will, or therapists who talk to the victims, or people who do both, who research the pathological sides, who work with truly people with mental disorders, or who research the disorders and also talk to victims of this abuse or research the patterns. They will also know the phenomenon, what is happening. Um, so the point of my video is just to express that it seems to be a very big topic, because I was following, like, I don't know exactly, but maybe 5 or 10 YouTubers, different content creators, and the messages that I'm listening to, from my point of view, is just something with a philosophical, spiritual, or psychological background. Okay? So it could be about Jungian psychology. It could be, any kind of, yeah, spiritual things or psychological stuff. And all of these creators seem to make content at times about this topic. Everybody. So it's a big topic. It's not just one or two people being concerned with that. And it has the audience. There is a lot of people who can relate to this. And yeah, the roots again for that I can come from different angles to tell you what the roots for these are. And one is the individual itself. So when you look at yourself, you have fears. I already mentioned this in one or two videos before. The fear to be replaced. And just briefly telling you, when you work at an assembly line, yes, you can be replaced in almost every quality of yourself. You can be recreated there. Okay, somebody can do the same thing that you do, maybe a little bit faster, maybe a little bit slower, doesn't matter. But in a human environment, you cannot really be replaced. Your energetic signature, your ability to love cannot be replaced. Okay? So this will lead us to something, to understand something. All right, so that's what I said basically. You can be replaced, but you can't be replaced. So I believe there is a huge part of narration, of how do you narrate this. And even if other people play another game or living in a fantasy where it is different, because in reality you can't be replaced in all your qualities, never. Only when you work at an assembly line, then yes. Okay? Yeah. When you're working in a farm and, everybody can feed the pigs, right? And it's very sad that we treat our cattle in a way that it is there to just produce meat. So, in some way, we do not have the idea to give a good life to the animals. We abuse the fact that an animal refuses to die if we supply it with certain needs, but we don't give them any love because we don't have any love within us. So everybody can feed the pigs, okay? But not everybody can, you know. I hope you get the point what I'm saying here. You had your unique way to do things. You're not just feeding pigs. For you, it was different. It wasn't even pigs for you what you did, okay? It's very sad what I'm saying right now, and I think most people won't get what I really say right now. See, not everybody can see the world with your eyes. People, it's don't cast your pearls before swine. They will turn and rend you if you do. This means your qualities, the fullness of the spectrum of colors that you see, it makes other people have the feeling they only see black and white. Okay? This is why they rend you. You perceive life as effortless. To you being comes. It happens to you in a wonderful way. It is a mystical experience at times, life itself. Being, having an infinitely beautiful existence It happens to you wonderfully, without effort. It happens to you. And there's people, it don't happen to them. This is why they live externally. They live in a fantasy narration. It means they live in the gaze of other people. There's people, when they meditate, when they do yoga, when they do any spiritual thing, they don't do it in the first place for themselves, because there's nobody home. And when they do it, it must be seen by others, and by this validated by others. Okay, so this is a groundbreaking, a fundamental difference. There's people who only live in the gaze of others, and you can be very thankful when you're living for yourself in the first place. And this, I'm not saying this in an egotistic way. I'm saying this in a way that all the things happen to you effortlessly and reflected within your own consciousness. It resonates within you. There's people who don't have this resonance within them. They need the resonance from the outside in the first place. Otherwise, they don't know that they are there. Okay? They don't even perceive that they do something. They don't do things for themselves. It's no self-love there. This is why their love is twisted. They can say the word love, they can act love, but the love does not resonate within themselves. See, Vaknin also said that narcissists have no access to positive emotions. They have only access to negative emotions. This is not a made-up thing that I'm telling you here. This is the truth, okay? And imagine that. What a person like that reflects to the outside when they have only negative emotions. They don't get the sunlight from the inside. There is not sunlight generator. There is no heat, a warmth generator, right? Right here, there's no warmth coming from this, okay? So they need the warmth of others. They need the, they need this from the outside, the validation, and they first need to, they're waking up with an anxiety of nothingness, emptiness, soullessness, heartlessness. And then the fantasy comes in as a defensive reaction, identitylessness. And this anxiety needs to be compensated by fantasizing something and imitating someone in order to make up for all of this, okay? And also you need to think about, once we understand this, nobody wants to go back to his or her narcissist, or people who do the predatory mimicry, okay? So they do imitation as intimidation, and as well as a compensatory mechanism for a lack of own identity. So nobody wants to go back to these people. Nobody. All right. So I think why this topic might be so important, or so, a big topic just for a lot of people, is because it takes some time to integrate this. We can understand it with the mind first. We see the patterns. I'm giving you the narration. You already have the narration. You understand what's happening. You can describe what's happening. You find people who tell the same, have the same experience. You have content creators, philosophers, scientists, psychologists, you have everybody who tells you how this works and why this happens. Yet still, somehow it takes time to really make the right decisions based on that. And also, you learn what you're really looking for in life. You learn who you are because now you know it's something very special that you don't have to create your identity. You don't need it because you experience it every day. You have this generator in yourself. You have the colors, the nuances, all the sounds. You are an analog, it's a wave. You're in the wave state. You're not in. You don't have to digitally try to tune into certain frequencies. Like a narcissist has to try to lock in the right frequency, and they never sure whether they're really there or not. But what I want to tell you is you get to know your own blessings, all right, and you need to learn to protect them. Um, and you also learn what are you looking for in life, because you looked for something, and what you found was the situation and the people who brought you in the situation. So you made a mistake. You had to learn. This is why this cycle had to be there. But you're a cycle breaker. You don't go in circles. So you now learn what you're looking for. But think about that. There was something, some way, something that you looked for in people, and very characteristical thing is betrayal. You experience it as betrayal. What happens, and it was a betrayal, and you was disappointed. And now the question is, what are you looking for? You don't want to go back to that ever again. Never. Not in the same person, not in another person. But then what do you focus on? How do you find real people? How do you find this? How will it be to find a person that has this generator as well? That is not dependent of you. You're independent people. How does this work? This is something new. This is something very new. And I wonder why it's so, it's a phenomenon that happens often. A lot of people are interested in this topic, yet nobody wants to go back. So it's a very positive thing that happened, okay? So, yes, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because what then basically happens is that we have to individuate. We have to start finishing the job of parenting. We went to the limit of our personal development we could get to, and we hit a hard rock bottom. We hit a cap, and this is why now we do have to do shadow work. And this is the questions I asked you before in this video. They will lead you to make the right conclusions, and it's self-work in the first place. You will have to discover things that will scare you within yourself. It's not easy. It's dangerous work even, you know. But it's the only way. It's the right way. When you experience something that you don't want, that you absolutely find completely um, whatever negative, then the right direction is to go away from that. And then you have your direction now. Go away from that as far as possible, just away. And then you will have to fill in positive goals. Once you're far away enough, now you need to make positive goals to go towards. And this is, but then what do you want if was not the right that you had before? Okay? So I just wanted to put this out. I'm not here today to give you a finished thought process of a certain idea. I just wanted to talk about how fascinating the topic is, um, and how we should see it as a positive chance to change.